Hey, what the hell is going on? How you doing? Nick Digilio here. How are ya? Give to my Patreon page, please. I would really appreciate it. It would help me out a lot. I provide a bunch of videos and all kinds of cool stuff. Patreon.com/NickD Show. Pick a tier, donate. Would help a lot. I'd appreciate it. Check out my podcast, Nick D Podcast, on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Just Google up the Nick D Podcast. New episodes every Tuesday and Friday. A live edition of the Nick D Podcast on November 15th at Zanies in Rosemont. Get your tickets now. Rosemont.zanies.com. Thank you. All right, it's October 1st. That means it's Halloween time. And it's 31 days of horror, as so many people have. Now it's a common thing. So each day throughout the month of October, I'm going to pick a horror movie, which means 31 movies that I'm going to grab from my DVDs and my Blu-rays and all that shit that I have in my closet. I'm just going to grab a bunch of them, pick them up, and tell you about each one a day. So one horror movie per day through October, the month of October. It's October 1st, and these are random. I just grabbed them. I'm just going to pick up a DVD or a Blu-ray or whatever the hell they are, hold them up and go, hey, here's a movie, talk just a little bit about it. So in celebration of the greatest month of all time, which is October, and in celebration of the greatest holiday and the only fucking holiday that really matters, Halloween, and the greatest genre in the history of movies, horror, the greatest genre of all time. If you disagree, you're dumb. I am randomly grabbing 31 movies, talking about one a day. Like the vitamin, one a day. I'm an idiot. Anyway, enjoy. So, very randomly, I did not put these, they're in no order. I grabbed a bunch of discs, bunch of packages. I grabbed 31 of them, and then I kind of mixed them up, and I stacked them up next to me. They're stacked up right next to me right now. And every day, I'm going to give you my thoughts on classic horror movies. Some of them might not be classic. Some of them might be new to you. And again, I'm only doing 31 of them. So I just want to let you know that I'm probably missing some. Like, I'm not going to talk about some of the other ones. Like, I did not grab any of the Universal movies. Because to me, that kind of goes without saying. Some of these are classic anyway. But the Universal movies, I have a big box set, and I wasn't going to bring that out and talk about each one of them. But you know that. Universal classic movies from the 30s and 40s. Those are some of the greatest movies of all time. So you should know that already. So if you're looking for something to watch during the holiday season, which is the horror season, Halloween season, you can always bust out the classic Universal horror movies with Dracula and the Frankenstein monster and the Wolfman and the Mummy. And, you know, all of the classic, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, The Invisible Man, all of the classic Universal stuff goes without saying. Boom. All right, let's do it. Here's the first one. And I did actually pick this one first. I did pick this one to go first. And I do have the one to go last. So I have October 1st, that's now, and I have October 31st all set. Everything else in between is mixed up, so I don't know what order I'm going in. But we're starting out with this one. Yeah. Some would say the scariest movie ever made. Some would say the granddaddy of horror movies. Legendary movie. I could go on and on. I'm going to make these kind of short. These videos are kind of short. But this is one of the greatest horror films ever made, directed by William Friedkin from 1973. It still holds up today. It's still scary as shit today. I prefer the original cut to the director's cut and the version you've never seen before that they released back in 2000. This is the original cut that I prefer. The stuff that they put in, the crab crawl where she's walking down the steps backwards, that's silly. Shouldn't be in there. A lot of the stuff and all of the death mask stuff that they did, the Captain Howdy face that they added all over the place, and that's stupid. No need for that. But we know how great this movie is. It's scary as shit. It's groundbreaking. It's still, to this day, one of the scariest movies. My mom cannot watch this movie. I mean, this movie is like 50 years old, and she can't watch it. She just can't watch it. She'll be 50 years old next year. My mom can't. Well, the last time I hosted a screening of this at my film club, my mom and dad came. My mom spent the entire time literally with a hoodie over her face. Like she couldn't watch the goddamn movie. And it's understandable. One of the greatest horror movies ever made. William Friedkin, one of the best interviews I've ever done. I interviewed William Friedkin twice. Two of the greatest interviews I've ever had the pleasure of doing. Legendary. Scary as shit. One of the greatest performances in horror film history, Jason Miller as Damien Karras in The Exorcist. One of my favorite performances ever in movie history is Jason Miller in The Exorcist. Scary as shit, tons of classic scenes, but go with the original cut, not the director's cut, not the version you've never seen before where they add all the Captain Howdy faces in the background and all that shit. and the spider walk scene, which doesn't need to be there, and a couple of other scenes that doesn't need to be there. Now, the one scene that I do like that they cut out, that is in the director's cut, is the scene where Marin and Karis sit on the stairs before they go in for the first session of the exorcism on Reagan, and they talk about why this little girl has been chosen. It's a great scene, and I love that scene. And I love it in the context of the movie. It's just all the rest of the stuff that they cut out and put back in doesn't work. But that scene, which is available in these packages as a bonus, like an edited scene, a scene that was cut out, you can see that scene. And if you want to watch the director's cut, whatever, you're not going to go wrong. It's still great. But that scene where Karis and Marin discuss philosophy, the world, why this little girl has been possessed, it's a fucking great scene. Incredibly well written, incredibly well acted by Jason Miller and Vaxton Sydow. So I love that scene. I do love it, and I don't think they should have cut it out. But anyway, whatever. This is one. Day number 1 of 31 Days of Horror for Halloween, The Motherfucking Exorcist. If you've not seen it, I don't know what the hell your problem is. If you have seen it, then you know how good it is, and obviously this is a go-to for this time of season. So here you go. All right? 31 Days of Horror. First up, The Exorcist. Watch it. Piss yourself. All right. Enjoy Halloween.